Hey guys, it's Edie. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Hope you're all doing well. And in today's video we're going to be reading some fantasy books for a week. I have chosen 3 books and I am hoping to get to each one of them, but I am working a couple days this week so I might not. I don't know, have to wait and see. But the first book I chose was City of Bones by Cassandra Clare, which is the first book in the Mortal Instruments series, and pretty much what I know about it is a YA, I believe, and it's like an urban fantasy and very popular. Then I have chosen Emily Ward's Encyclopedia of Fairies by Heather Fouet. I don't know how to pronounce that name, but it's this book, and this is a book about fairies, I believe, and it's more of a cozy fantasy from what I've heard. And the final book I have chosen is Heir of Broken Souls by Mads Ravity, and this is the 3rd book in Heir of Broken Fate series. And basically this series follows Princess Delilah, and her people are not being treated very nice by her father, who's the king, and she kind of wants to get help, so she kind of turns to the Fae people for help, and they end up helping her. That's basically the not sum up of the first book, but like the the blurb of the first book, so you can get kind of an idea from that. And the way the second book left off in this series, I was shocked. There was a big betrayal at the end of that book, and I still keep thinking about it, about that person that betrayed, and yeah, I did not see that coming. I think I'm going to pick this one up first because it's the one I'm most looking forward to reading because of how the second book in this series ended off. So I'm just going to get straight in to read this book, and then I'll come back to you guys tomorrow with a little update of how far I am into this book. So it's now Tuesday, the next day, and I'm now halfway through this book and I am absolutely loving it, having the time of my life. It pretty much starts off, from what I can remember about the second book, quite straight after from the second book. It like carries on, I think, in a way. If I remember correctly, I might be wrong. Like I said, I can't really explain much about this book because then it will spoil it, and I don't want to spoil the series for anyone if they do want to read this series. But if you haven't read this series, a lot of people do say it's quite similar to ACOTAR, and yes it is, but there's differences, but I still enjoy it. Like, I love everything about this book. I love the world, I love the plot, I love the characters. I especially love Knox because the man he is. The things he is saying to Delilah, oh, they are everything. Like the love confessions, all of that in this book are phenomenal. Would you call it maybe words of affirmation? I'd say that's their love language. Their love language is words of affirmation. The things they say to each other are just like so amazing, and I just love reading it. And something kind of maybe major has just happened in this book halfway through, and I'm like, oh, what's going to happen next? It's keeping me on my toes, and I don't really have any theories of what could happen, because quite often when I'm reading a book, especially like fantasy or thriller or mystery or any sort of those sort of books, I'm always like, oh, maybe this is going to happen, that. I've got theories. But with this book, this series, I have no theories of what's going to happen. I'm just reading it and just going along with the story because I am just really enjoying it. I find them really fun, really fast paced, they're really captivating, these books. So if you haven't read the series, do read it. The first book is called Heir of Broken Fate, the second book is Heir of Broken Kingdom, and then this one is Heir of Broken Souls. I don't know if it's just a trilogy or if there's going to be more books. I actually don't know. Maybe it's going to be a trilogy, but I have to wait and find out, see how it ends, and then I might have a bit of an idea. And the covers of this series on the books, they are just so beautiful, and I love the artwork, and I really want some special editions. I know there is a special edition of the first book, but I don't know how to get my hands on it. I think you might have to buy it like resell, like buy it from a resale place, because I don't think they would have any left. I'm not really sure, haven't really looked into it. But the special edition is very pretty and I love it so much. And I am actually reading it on my Kindle because it is on Kindle Unlimited, and this whole series is. So if you also have a Kindle and you have Kindle Unlimited and you're looking for new romantasy series, pick this one up because it is really fun. I feel like at the moment this is definitely sitting in the 4-star range. I feel like it could have the potential to be a 5 stars, but I'm gonna have to wait to see how it ends and how things go to be able to give it a 5 stars, but it has the possibility. I can see it being 5 stars. But this book so far has brought out so many different emotions, because there are things that happened in previous books and things that are now happening in this book to do with that. And like, I've teared up a few times, I've laughed, I've giggled, I've kicked my feet, I felt all the feelings. I'm now just going to carry on reading this, and I am just going to come back to you guys once I have finished this book. I should be able to finish it today, because how long does it say I left on my Kindle? I believe it's like maybe four and a half hours I've got left to read on my Kindle, so I should be able to easily finish it today. I've now finished this book, and I'm going to give it 5 stars because it's absolutely phenomenal. I loved it so much. It took me on an emotional roller coaster as well. I think I said this already, but the words Delilah and Knox were saying to each other was just so beautiful, and it did have me tearing up a few points throughout this. I just love them so much. And I thought the ending of the second book was very shocking, jaw on the floor. It was more of a tearful crying one, but the way this one ended, I just sat there like utter shock, jaw wide open right on the floor. I still can't quite believe it, and I want the next book now, because I did look it up, there is a 4th book coming, because I went on the Mad's Instagram, and on the post she announced saying this book's out, and somebody commented, we go, is there going to be a book 4? And she was like, yes, so there is going to be a book 4, because if it ended like that, you can't end a series like that, because that is just shocking. Something happened. I can't even process it at the moment, and I am very, very excited for the next book to see how Knox is gonna behave and things like that. I feel like I'm gonna be feral for him, because the circumstances for this book that will lead into the next book, oh, it's gonna be so good, I can already tell. And I still just have so many questions about the ending of this book, about things that happened that I'm not gonna say because of spoilers, but I just have questions and I want to know the questions now. But the next book doesn't even have a release date. I don't think Mads has started writing either, because I think she's writing a romance book at the moment. I might be wrong, but I need the next book now, because the questions I have and the way that I have left off, I need answers. So the next book I think I want to pick up is Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies, because I don't know, I'm fancying something a bit more cozy rather than a bit more high stake. Maybe after that one I want a little bit of a break from like maybe high stake fantasies, because of the emotional roller coaster that one took me through. But I am very interested to see if I will like this one. I'm not sure. I have read one cozy fantasy, because I don't know, I think it's classed as a cozy fantasy, A Compass to the Villain, that one, which follows Evie and, well, I can't think of what the villain's name is called, but basically he's a villain and she becomes his assistant basically. And I absolutely love that series. I'm very interested about this one because I know a lot of people do like it, so I'm just gonna start reading it and then come back tomorrow with an update of how far I am through it. So it's the next day and I have actually decided to do an this book. I literally only got 20 to 30 pages in this book last night and I just couldn't do it anymore. I just wasn't vibing with it. It's not that I'm dislike it or dislike the writing, I don't know, maybe this book just isn't for me, and I feel like, why am I going to read it if I am going to give it a bad review? I might try and reread it another time, but I just don't feel like I'm in the right mood to read this sort of like fantasy book. So I feel like for me specifically, I have to be in the right sort of mood for something like this, but I'm just not feeling it. So instead of picking up the next book I have chosen for this reading vlog, I have got an arc that I'm very, very excited about, and then I forgot, I always knew I had it, but I just haven't thought of picking it up yet, and I thought, why not read it now, because it is like a fantasy romantasy, and it is The Irresistible Urge to Fall for Your Enemy by, who is it by? Bridget Knightley, I believe I said that, I should have said that right, I think. But I've got this arc from NetGalley and it sounds very, very exciting. I think it's like an enemies to lovers fantasy romantasy, and that's pretty much all I know. Maybe she's some, I might be wrong, but I feel like she's some sort of an assassin. Nah, I could be wrong, I don't really know. I haven't really read much into it, but the fact that it's enemies to lovers, supposedly enemies to lovers, have to wait and see, has me very intrigued. So I'm going to pick this one up now instead of Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies, just because I just wasn't getting along with it. I need something a bit more, I don't know, maybe I'm not that sort of fantasy reader that likes those sort of fantasy books, a bit more cozy sort of fantasy, because I've never really read them. So maybe I'm more of a high stake fantasy person, I don't really know, but I'm very, very intrigued by this, so I'm just going to start reading it, and I'm just going to come back tomorrow with an update for you guys of how far I am through this book. It's actually a couple of days later because I did not end up filming anything yesterday because I got a phone from work at like 6:30 in the evening and I was so shattered, so tired because I've been up since like 4:30 that morning, so I didn't really film anything, didn't read anything yesterday. But the day before, on Wednesday I believe it is, I got about 4 chapters into this book and I'm not liking it, I'm afraid. I'm just not vibing with it. I just feel like there's no world building. I'm confused at times as well because things are just getting thrown into you and you have to read the glossary to understand what's happening, and because it's on Kindle it's so hard to flip back to the glossary. I haven't been doing that, so that's kind of my fault. But as soon as I saw the glossary I was like, yep, I am going to be confused by this book, and I am very much confused. I feel like the characters so far are falling a bit flat for me as well. I'm just not vibing with this, and it's not told in first person, it's told in third person as well, which I always don't particularly like that much unless I really like the book. But it's just not for me, this book, I don't think. I am gonna carry on reading this and finish this book. I should be able to finish it today. I just really wanted to like this, but I just don't, which is kind of sad and annoying because it sounded like such a good and fun book. But basically what this book is, I can't even remember their names because I can't even pronounce their names because they're so complicated for me as with dyslexia, but the MMC is this like assassin guy and he's got this illness that he needs treating, and basically he goes to the FMC, who is this healer, to ask for help. Essentially that's what this book is, and I just wish there was more world building. I reckon there needs to be another maybe 50 pages of world building and then maybe I wouldn't be as confused, but I am quite confused at what's going on. But that's pretty much all I have to say about this book. The writing's mediocre. It's not terrible, but I just don't think it's for me, and maybe I am kind of disappointed in it because I did have quite high hopes for this book, and I don't really want to DNF another book in this reading vlog because that would be 2 in a row. Maybe I'm going into a reading slump, I don't really know, but yeah, that's all I really have to say about it. I'm probably just going to come back now once I've finished with this book. So it's now later in the day and I have finished this, and I am actually going to have to give it a 1 star. This is the lowest I've ever rated a book. It's not that it was terrible, it's just definitely was not for me. Like, I found out like halfway through our reading this that this was like basically a fan fiction, and I can kind of see what people are saying by that from finishing and reading this book, because there is little to no world building in this book at all. If they added another 50 pages of world building, I would have probably understood the book more, because it was just so confusing, and having to flip back to the glossary each time, it was just so confusing for my brain and I hated it. I don't really like books with glossaries because they make me, I don't know, I just get confused very easily with those because there's these words that I can never even pronounce as well. And I also felt like the storyline felt flat, the characters felt a bit flat for me as well. I didn't really connect to them, and I did contemplate on DNFing this book quite a few times, but I was like, for this video I can't DNF another book, and because it is an arc I really do want to carry it on, because I don't really like DNFing arcs, because I want to read the whole thing and give my full opinion on it. So then if people want to read this book they can see what I feel about it and maybe see if they want to read it or not. But I can understand why people would like this book. I can kind of see the appeal for it. So if you're watching this video and you're thinking of reading this book, do give it a go, because I just feel like it wasn't for me personally. And it's saying you could really love this book if you read it, but this is just like my opinion, my thoughts, my feelings. But I feel like a lot of people will like this book, and I can kind of see why they would like it. I feel like that's really all I have to say about it. So I'm just going to move on to the next book, and the next book I want to pick up is City of Bones by Cassandra Clare, which is the first book in the Mortal Instruments series. That's the series, and I believe you read these through the first 3 books in this series, then you go to the other series, and then you come back for the last 3 books in this series. That's how you read it. So I am gonna start reading this and I'll come back to you guys once I'm halfway through. So it's now the next day, I believe it's Saturday, yes it's Saturday, and I am on chapter 9, which is page 144, and I'm really liking this book. Basically this book takes place in New York City, Manhattan, Brooklyn, that sort of area, and it follows, I believe I'm pronouncing this right, Clary, I want to say, I think that's how you pronounce it, not 100% sure, but she starts seeing people that other people can't see, and she finds it very strange, very bizarre. And the people she ends up seeing that nobody else can see are these people called the Shadow Hunters, and the Shadow Hunters are basically these like warrior people that go around and kill demons and just things like that. That's essentially what this book is, and Clary kind of almost joins them, and then things start happening and unraveling from there. And her mum has a few secrets, and there's a few secrets with her family, and it's very good. I'm really liking it. It's very interesting. I like the storyline. I'm liking the dynamic of the characters. I believe it's a TV show or film about this book, this series, and once I finish reading this series I really want to go watch that, because I've seen clips on it on TikTok and it looks really good. And just the whole vibe of this book I'm really liking, and it's also not too complicated for me to understand. There's no glossary, no nothing like that, but this book is told in third person, so it's not my favourite sort of like way to tell a story, but I'm not actually hating it. I'm really liking it in third person. That's all I really have to say. I'm very intrigued to see what's going to happen, because of some of the things that have already happened in this book so far have very much intrigued me. So I'm just going to carry on reading this, and I'm going to come back to you once I've finished this book. So it's now the next day, Sunday, and I have finished this book and I did really like it. I'm going to end up giving it a 4 stars because I thought it was such a solid start to like the beginning of a series, and it really built up the world, the characters, the storyline, all of that just so well. I think my favourite part about this book was that you got to see like all the different like fantasy creatures. I don't know if that's the right word to describe them, but all of those, like vampires, werewolves, loads of different other like sort of creatures in one book, and I just thought it was really interesting, the dynamics, all of that sort of thing. I just really enjoyed about it. I thought it was really fast paced, I thought it was really fun, and that twist to the end had me in utter shock. I did kind of know it was coming because I did see things on TikTok about it. Not specifically word for word, but just people saying, warning people of something. All I'm going to mention is the word siblings. Just take that however you want to, but if you've read the book, you know what I'm talking about, and that had me in utter shock, even though I kind of knew it was coming. And then when the things got revealed near the end about certain things, I was like, oh, yep, that's happening, and kind of sad about it. In a way, in a sense. That's all I'm going to say, because I don't really want to say anything else to spoil it anymore. But I just loved Clary so much. I thought she was such a strong character. She didn't take anything from anyone. If you haven't already read this series, I definitely would. Especially if you do love like an urban fantasy. This is very good urban fantasy. I think this is actually a YA book, I want to say it is. Not 100% sure, but I'm 99.9% sure this is a YA. I thought it was maybe on the higher end of like the writing YA scale. I'm not really sure, but I did thoroughly enjoy this book. So I feel like that's all I have to say about the book. I am now going to go through each book and what I rated each one. The first book I picked up was Heir of Broken Souls by Mads Rafferty, and I gave this book a 5 star. Then the next book I picked up was Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies, and I ended up DNF in this book. Then I picked up the what's it called? It's the I can't say that word. Irresistible Urge to Fall for My Enemy, or Fall for the Enemy, I think. It's up on the screen here anyway, and I gave it that 1 star. Just wasn't for me. And then the last book I read was City of Bones by Cassandra Clare, and I gave this book a 4 stars. That's a 5-4. So that is everything for today's video. I do hope you enjoyed it. If you did, do give it a thumbs up. And if you want to check out my other social medias, they're all linked in the description below. And if you haven't already, do subscribe so you can see more videos from me, and I'll see you next time. Bye!